SFPD!
Meow? Ah, come on.
And I need my robot to be a fighter, not a lover. Load the red one.
I won't.
Then I'll do it. Move over, sweetheart.
Hey!
Ha! It's like a video game. Piece of cake.
Ha! It's like a video game. I actually like that quote. Oh, you guys are here. Well, today, I'm going to talk about another anime adaptation that broke the curse like a little battle angel, Sonic 2020. After the success of Alita, the creators started putting care into what they were making for future anime adaptations. In the start, we got this atrocious design of Sonic. The only reason why they did this is because they wanted to see what Sonic would look like in real life, because they wanted to imply real physics or whatever, but that doesn't really matter. They can just make a recreation of it in live action, and then people will be happy. Obviously, this took a lot of outburst and rage throughout the fandom, begging creators to change the design. And don't get me wrong, some people still want good live-action adaptations. One, they had two options. They could either rage on the creators to cancel the film, which I wouldn't have liked, or they could change the design and make people happy instead of getting nothing. With that being said, Paramount could also be trying to redeem themselves for creating a terrible live-action anime in the past, a decade ago. I'm not going to say what it is because it's obvious, but with that out of the way, let's review the movie. Firstly, as I've always done, I'm going to start off with the characters. Now, currently in the video games, like Sonic Forces, they don't handle Sonic's character really well. I hate how he's not trying to redeem Metal Sonic, because Metal Sonic is somewhat of an anti-hero at times. I love when he was good in the comics, where he actually started to help Sonic, and especially in the original OVA movie. But here, the directors actually know what they're doing and decided to, you know what, fix the issue with Sonic and actually bring him back to his game glory back in the early 90s. Sonic is mostly accurate to how he is in the first original game. And of course, I love how there is this theme about friendship that plays along with his character development in the movie, and we'll get to that in a second. Sonic is mostly accurate to his character, but most of his character throughout the movie revolves around the theme of friendship as well, which is good for his character development because after losing Longclaw, he decides to shield himself from everybody in Green Hills for 13 years. And then, of course, he thinks that, oh, friendship is bad and I shouldn't do it even if I want to. And just because he couldn't make any friends, well, what he thinks, he decides to run around and then cause power outage. Of course, he chooses to leave, but of course he runs into Donut Lord, aka Tom. Of course, him and Tom get along together, and of course, he starts to become his friend. And of course, he can take a break from the whole, oh, friendship isn't good on his list and start to actually develop his friendship with him throughout the film. Of course, it catches up with him when they're facing one of Eggman's drones. And then, right before Sonic was about to teleport, he still thanks for being my friend and starts to think, hey, maybe friendship isn't so bad and maybe it could be good. And in the climax, Sonic changes his views and finally realizes that his friends make him stronger. And he realizes that friendship is good. And he decides to embrace his friend, Tom. Now let's talk about Tom. Tom is completely an anime original character. While he is someone who would be a character in Sonic, the original games, but the thing is, okay, you know what, let's just talk about his character. Basically, he wants to feel accepted, like he wants to go to the big city in San Francisco and leave Green Hills. Now this kind of sounds a little like Shinji wanting to feel acknowledged and want to be part of society, that type of thing. And that's really good goals. When he meets Sonic, his whole world changes. Of course, Eggman starts labeling him a fugitive after helping Sonic escape him for the first time. He bonds over
his goals with Sonic about friendship and all. And of course they do get in a little ruckus when the robot starts showing up. And then of course when Sonic's injured, he does everything in his power to protect Sonic and nurse him back to health. They finally get on the top of the tower with all the coins. And of course he's grown to care about Sonic and treat him as a friend. Eventually, when Sonic is almost defeated by Eggman, he's like, he's my friend no matter what, and I'll protect him no matter what. And that's a really good character development. And then he's no longer a fugitive. And then, of course, he lets Sonic live with him. Now, let's talk about Jim Carrey's Eggman. Now, personally, he's actually a really good portrayal of the main antagonist. He pulled off some of the right notes of the character of Eggman, and sometimes even his own, which is really nice. And I like the outfits that he wore throughout the film. And the whole thing about his ideology about how, loneliness is perfect, that he rather spends time with his machines because when he was a kid, humans always treated him horribly. Which means, in his opinion, he doesn't believe that friendship is nice and only believes it'll cause more harm. But I do find it funny that he reminded me of L from the Netflix Death Note. How funny he was, how intelligent he was, that chase scene. Yeah, a lot of stuff was pulled right from the Netflix Death Note, mostly. The problem is that they try way too hard on the humour. Even though I like Jim Carrey's acting, at first I wanted Josh Greeley to play Eggman because he was very fitting for the role. He's also voiced characters like Byakuya Tokugami, and Armin. As for the side characters, I do like the girlfriend in the movie, the love interest. Yeah, she's nice. And the girl, Jojo, from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, she's nice too. They're well casted, and their portrayals and character development are also nice too. Now, we are moving on to the storyline of Sonic. Now, first, I didn't really like what was happening in the middle of the storyline, but then I come to understand it more and respect it a lot more. We begin the movie with Kid Sonic, who is running around all over his town in Green Hill. Of course, we learn about Longclaw, the one who's protecting him. Of course, Excellent gives away the location, and of course, a bunch of echidnas start attacking them. Of course, Sonic eventually lost Longclaw, and to him, this strikes something in him, and he starts to believe that friendship isn't good and that he should stay lonely for the rest of his life. But there was still hope for him. So still was able to prank everyone without being noticed. He got his own hideout with his own stuff and merchandise. And then later on we do see this new character who is named Tom. Basically he's suffering the same thing. He wants to be noticed like Shinji Ikari wants to feel like a member to society by becoming a police officer. What he thinks is good for him is that he's going to San Francisco, the big city, where in which case he'll be noticed a lot more. We get a well-made added scene that showcases what Sonic is going through. It showcases Sonic playing baseball all by himself, gets a home run, and he's really overjoyed by this. However, he realizes that no one was watching him. In some frustration and sadness and despair, he runs in a circle just to show that he realizes that he can't have any friends at this point in the movie. This causes an electric shock that shocks all of Green Hill City, causing a power outage. Political leaders and military assets talk about how angry they are, so it's like in their greatest warrior. They gather up in the courtyard, and it's revealed that Jim Carrey is playing Eggman, and he does such a good job with the character. We get a nice touching scene of Sonic gathering up all his rings and all his equipment, and then leaving his abandoned hideout. Later on, he ends up in Tom's house, and then Tom finds him, and yeah, the whole mean thing happens. He gets knocked out, and then Sonic accidentally says San Francisco, and then all the coins fall on the top building, and the portal closes. Sonic later wakes up in a cage. Of course, he ends up escaping the cage, and of course he properly meets Tom. They both get to know each other a little bit well, and then of course Eggman comes in. Eggman finds the quill, and of course Eggman starts screaming at Sonic just after seeing him, and then they escape. But they still leave the quill there. Now, I do like the drones in the movie. They look pretty nice. I like the white and red. Sonic and Tom on the quest to find the rings
decided to talk about each other, about how Sonic was spying on them the whole time, and how they get to know each other about finding the rings and returning back to the Mushroom World. Of course, Sonic doesn't want to go, but he's kind of accepted it at this point. And of course, he's lighting up about the whole, oh, friendship isn't good stuff. Well, he decides to ignore that for a while. And of course, he can't travel to San Francisco himself because he wants to make Tom feel special, since Tom has now become a fugitive. During the bar scene, Tom gets a call from one of his co-workers at work, who is played by the same actor who plays a teacher in middle school, The Worst Years of My Life. I actually like that book adaptation. Turns out Eggman was listening to them on the phone. I'm okay with the bar scene if they had just ended it before they get in a fight, because they didn't really have to add the fight scene in it. There's a nice touching scene where they're in the hotel and Tom gets to see Sonic's bucket list and how the only one that's left is making a friend. Eggman also found out where Sonic and Tom are going. Thomas tells Sonic that he's gonna work in the big city because he wants to feel acknowledged a lot more. Of course, Sonic's like, hey, the people of Green Hills call for you instead of all those other people that they could have called. While Sonic is ridiculing Thomas, one of Eggman's strongest robots comes after them, and then Sonic does his spin dash from the games, and then does a little floss. After a cat and mouse chase by blowing up a bunch of robots, Sonic eventually gets injured. And after all of that nonsense, Sonic gets healed up by this little girl named Jojo, who gives him his manga and anime and video game accurate shoes. He puts them on, and of course he starts to live with both Tom and the new girl that's part of their trio now. They finally make it to the tower and get all the rings, but suddenly, Eggman shows up with his army of drones. This is due to the quill that he was studying with his coffee boy. Sonic teleports his two friends and then engages in a battle with Eggman by going all around the world with the rings. Of course, they end up back at Green Hills, where Sonic has realized that friendship is not bad and that it shouldn't be isolation, and that he chooses to accept his friends after a little speech of Tom. Tom is like, he's my friend, and he realizes that friendship is good. Sonic is fully superpowered and loaded on Eggman. Friendship versus isolation. He teleports Eggman to the Mushroom World, where Eggman belongs. Tom gives Sonic a high five. Sonic moves into Tom's house with Fretzel Lady, and he gets to have his own room in the attic with all the stuff that he had in his previous hideout. And Sonic has also came full circle about having friends and becoming a hero. And after the film ends, we get to see Robotnik, fully anime accurate Eggman, in the Mushroom World. Then later on, Tails is revealed with a communicator, and I gotta say it looks pretty adorable. And that was a storyline. I give it a 9.1 out of 10. It could have been a lot better, but I respect it and I've grown to like it. In conclusion, I give this movie a 9.4 out of 10. I honestly like the music for this movie and the characters, how they fit into the story, the references, and the overall graphics and CGI. But Sonic looks really cute, and the same goes for Tails. And I do like the new updated white technology. It's a good movie. I can't wait for my original Sonic Director's Cut. And it's true that it took me a couple months to get this video finished. It's just that I forgot to do it on Friday, because I was really busy, that's all. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, share, like and comment.